Episodes 5 and 6 completely changed the world of See as we know it. Who knew that Maghra and Queen Kane really had that much in common? Plus, Ben's got a new betrayal for this week's special segment. I've got you covered with news and gossip, and I can't wait to talk about some of these predictions. This is the See After Show. Stick around.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Here we go.
Oh, I can't believe what happened.
Come on. Come on. How can you not appreciate?
I don't believe in anything anymore. I was like,
Listen, my mind is still blown.
oh man.
Especially like episode 6, I was just like, I have to stop thinking about this
Right.
and do
Right.
something else.
I mean, I'm still processing, I have to say.
Okay.
But there were so many twists I didn't see coming. I was like, what?
Completely.
Really?
Yeah.
So-
Well, the time to process is here.
That's right.
Okay, it's that time. This is the See After Show. My name is Keith Andre. If you're just getting to know us, sorry for you, but glad you made the cut. I am an actor. I love all Apple products. I've got my buddy Ben Schnau here.
What's up?
Week after week, another actor and a huge Jason Momoa fan.
Right.
And he got to show off tonight.
Oh yeah, and I like Apple too.
And you like Apple too.
Yeah.
Of course. All right, well, we've been following this thing week after week. We now are at episodes 5 and 6. So again, we'll do episode 5, run through that, then we'll get to episode 6.
That's right.
Then we'll talk some bad guys with your betrayal.
Oh yeah.
We saw a lot of betrayal in these 2 episodes.
And he looks so nice. I was like, you wouldn't believe it.
That's how they get you. And then we can talk about not only our new predictions, but the predictions that we've started to see come true.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
You know?
we actually knew some
We've done a
stuff.
great job.
Yeah.
I was looking back at last week's episode,
Right.
at least to see that portion, and I kind of had to pat myself on the back.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's so good, people.
All right, let's get started. So episode 5 was titled Plastic. This episode, I look at what I did, because we get to see Queen Kane
Right.
in all of her glory and what she has done to her community. Then we'll go into Maghra's trinkets, which will take us right into more of Maghra's secrets.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
Aw.
episode 5, how do you feel?
I mean, honestly, I still didn't really understand why the queen was destroying her own palace, and she killed pretty much the whole people, everyone. She killed the whole tribe, her own tribe,
Yeah.
her own people, everybody. I was like, why did she do that? And then I just had to say, and I realized again, and we also hear a little bit about it, she has kind of a mental issue.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It is a fact now.
For sure.
And I think she just does things like from a more emotional perspective. Right?
Yeah,
So
I think you're accurate. I'm glad we did get to kind of see, because we had already been thinking that she was a little,
that's right.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
crazy. And so we got to see some of that come to light. But I agree with you. I had trouble just understanding the process. I feel
Right.
like that's something that, maybe could have fleshed out a little better, because we did know last week she was turning off levers and things.
Right.
But that completely allowed her and this water to just wipe out like
The
houses and houses and houses.
whole community. is
And as
just
she was
gone.
walking through, I started to think about like Titanic when they were like going down. I'm like, what exactly is happening here, and how is it happening?
It looked pretty much like that, right?
Yes,
Yeah, that's actually right. now that you say it.
So I agree. I had a little bit of a disconnect just trying to figure out how she was able to do it.
Right.
But I was glad she did it, because
That's
it
right.
definitely kind of
Right.
led us somewhere.
And it made me also realize that she was pretty much in love with
Jerla Morel.
Jella Morel. Damn, why can't I have to work on that name, people. I get it next week. Trust me.
It's
but
okay.
what I wanted to say is that now I feel like she was almost maybe in competition with her, We
Well,
t-
yeah.
we don't talk about it yet, but I
Not
feel like I don't
yet.
want to spoil anything,
Yes.
but I just want to say I think she still loves this guy, and she just had the feeling, you know what, I have to leave my palace and all that stuff behind, and I just
Agreed.
have to look for you. I just want to find you now.
I agree with you. I think
So-
even without the influence of
Yeah.
knowing what we'll talk about shortly, just one of Maghra's secrets that was revealed. But even without that, we did know that she was already like unstable emotionally and just acting on those things. And I thought about too, as she was walking through to leave whatever corridor it was where she was like touching her father's face or whatever.
Right.
Just back to like the manipulation of like power and religion, because everybody else was seeing it as like this great act of the gods, when in actuality she pulled a few levers and tore his place down. And I kept thinking, what is she so optimistic about? Even before we got to the end of the episode, but I'm just like, what is she planning to get out of this?
I think she didn't even know herself, to be honest. I felt like she is completely lost within her emotional side, that she doesn't even know really what she's doing.
Yeah.
She just, her feeling or her emotion just telling her, just do it, right? And then, I mean, I think there was also in episode 5 already where we see that she kind of gets all fucked up in a way. I have to say that. Sorry, I said it. But but you know what I wanted to say about that, what was very obvious to me is like, and I'm not sure, maybe that happens to, or would happen to a lot of queens and kings or whatever, as soon as you leave your territory, as soon as you leave your walls, your palace, whatever it is, out of a sudden, you're almost like nobody, you know, compared to who you were before.
Absolutely.
And that was so, for me, that was a very great moment to see how her status changed in a second.
Right. And I think also not only being able to see her status change, but see that for her to be a person and try to go from 0 to 100, it doesn't, you don't move that quickly. So we did see she got kidnapped and taken to the city of the worms. But even there and along the way, when she was telling her servant who was with her, like, oh, I'm hungry, like, where's the and it's like, no, you just destroyed your life. That's not your life anymore. But you still see yourself, you know, as a queen with all these people, but now you're in like the worst predicament ever.
And isn't that interesting? Because at the end of the day, I think what she never realized is she's just that person, or she can just stay that person with that power as long as she has all her people around herself. But I think she never even realized that. She was probably like, hey, I'm the queen anyway, no matter what's happening around me. But as soon as you don't have anybody around you who is believing in you as the queen,
then what?
You are nobody.
You are nobody. Now, I'm going to talk about her later, because in episode 6, we do get to see just some of the grit to her. Yeah. Because she definitely believes what she says.
It's just an interesting social aspect. I mean, I mean that in general.
I mean, she's very disconnected, I feel like, from the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
She's got some mental health.
But, you know, the thing is, I just mean that also for the audience. I feel that more like a very social aspect in general in life. I feel like everybody, if we think about stars, celebrities, why are these people celebrities? Because there is a community, there are people around them, or fans or whatever, who see this person as the person who they are today, and that makes them the celebrity.
For sure.
And it's the same with the queen. And now all the people who saw her as the queen are gone, and now we don't know who you are. You know?
Yep. So we have that going on with her, and then in the same instance, we've got Maghra, and so we're still dealing with the trinkets, right? Because we left off in episode 4 with them being taken and trying to figure out where they are.
Yeah.
All right, so here we got to see, now we still didn't know what she was carrying around at first. Like I said, another secret just revealed, but she had a few moments where the audience got to pay attention again to Maghra and her character.
Right.
I feel like we were okay, we kind of know who she is in this world, but there's still these secrets that nobody knows. And so what did you think about, I guess, even her interchanges with Paris about the whole be careful thing that Geraldine Morel had left her as parting words?
That was a very interesting moment when they're basically at the river, right? Maghra is already sitting there, and Paris basically approaches her and is asking, hey, so what did he mean when he told me that? Like, be careful.
Right.
And at some point, I had a feeling, wow, maybe Maghra is maybe the devil within those people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For a moment, I was like, whoa, maybe she's not even the person that we thought she is.
Exactly.
But, you know, then we see a lot more happening. But at the beginning, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not even sure about her anymore.
Yeah, so I felt the same. I was a little taken aback and just not sure where to place her. But what I was glad about here, we did get to spend some time just developing other characters and learning about them, because some things that I made note of was even with Haniwa and Kofun and their differences when they were trying to figure out, you know, where they were, who stole the stuff, and Baba Voss was just talking about, do you hear that? And she couldn't hear it, but Kofun could. And just how they're
right.
connected and how different they have become. He's still really connected to the tribe and understanding. And like I said, I think it's a maturity thing. And so for her, we see that she's challenged in these ways as well.
So that means you believe, I just wanted to ask you that. I definitely feel that moment too. That was very like obvious, you know, that he's still kind of more connected to the tribe. But do you think that she can still do it, or she just forgot to do it because she was never really believing in this kind of tribe movement?
That's a good question. You know? Honestly, I don't know, because the theme, even as the episode continues, just in a lot of ways where they are put physically in the dark. And that's another like big takeaway I had from it, was just now that we have learned about those who can't see, then we got these characters who can see, and now we remove like nobody can see.
That's
you know,
right.
and so in so many ways. So I'm not sure. Maybe it is just something that's undeveloped because she does just focus on her strengths and like power through everything. Yeah. But I was glad that she got confronted in that regard as well. So Haniwa, we know she kind of took the lead in trying to get the trinket back, and we're introduced to a new character, Boots.
Right.
Did you see that? I didn't see that coming.
I was like, I mean, you mean like that a new character comes in?
A new character, and then Boots is the son, another child of Gerald Morrell.
I mean, I have to say, Gerald Morrell, he did a lot of crazy stuff, right? Man, you did like with a lot of women, right? Okay.
We see what, we've been wondering like what makes him bad or like character flaw, but I think we found it here.
That's a bad thing, man. It's not just whatever, but I didn't see that coming at all.
No,
I have never, no.
I did not expect that.
No.
But it was another great way for a story to be told. So what did you think of, I mean, after the whole fight and like getting to know him, so how did you feel about Boots becoming a member of their tribe? Were you for it? Were you against it? What would your vote have been?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, when I watch this scene, when I basically see them coming back to the camp, where they were staying, and he was part of the group at some point, I was a little bit more for Maghra, with Maghra. I was like, hey, because she was not sure about him, right? She was like, how can you trust him? What made you believe that he's trustable, that he's someone that we can trust, right? Because he was stealing our stuff in the first place. And I felt like when I was watching him, how he was behaving and what he was saying, I was like, he seemed okay to me. He seemed kind of legit. He seemed like someone who just wanted to be loved in a way.
I was like, okay, I didn't see this coming, but I can rock with it. I'm okay with Gerald Morrell having another child, and then them building up this community, like Maghra was saying, of people who can see versus who cannot see. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And I honestly, right around this point is where I felt, particularly with this episode, that things kind of slowed down just a bit for me, just in terms of like interest peaking. Because Maghra and Baba Voss were having a moment together, where she was sharing with him, a little bit about her past, and like she thinks her father would like her, and all of that. So I was like, I don't know.
What do you mean? Like that was still a little too slow for you?
It kind of made me. It took me out of it a little bit.
I mean, I can see that. What I also realized is that I feel like the storyline basically changed their focus a little bit more towards the kids and also Maghra, and less to Baba Voss.
Correct.
I feel like at the very beginning, the first kind of episodes, he was the focus.
Right. You think that this is all about him.
Yeah, but now it's shifted a little bit, I feel like, which is not always a bad thing. I mean, he's still a part of it, but I feel like it's also interesting to see that we see a little more about the background story of all the different characters. But I still have to say, I don't really know a lot about Paris, though.
No,
still.
Paris is
I would like to see more where she's coming from, what she's doing,
Yeah, she's still a little bit of a mystery. We know she knows a lot of things, but we haven't seen her complete backstory yet. Okay, so we're getting ready to jump into episode 6. But so the last few elements of episode 5 were Maghra's secret. So we're immediately taking from them being like safe and fine to lots of other people around them ready to fight. We've got Kofun with Baba Voss, and then Haniwa, of course, is always ready to fight. And then we see Maghra confronts Tenakti June, and she shows herself to be the princess Maghra of the House of Kane.
Yeah,
I was just like, excuse me?
I like, come on, you're lying.
What is happening here?
Right. I mean, I knew already, and we talked about that last week, right? This little
Yes.
bag. I mean, I had a feeling, and you had a feeling that must be like a big secret. Otherwise, she wouldn't go that crazy about it.
Oh, for
You know, there
sure.
must have been something really big.
I do
So-
like that we got to learn with the show in general. Like I said, we get to come into a new space and like learn a new world and how things operate and language and all of that.
Right.
But in this, we got to see by the end of this episode the value and what like jewelry and rings meant.
Yeah.
Because while Queen Kane is on the other side of the world dealing with her issues, but a big reason why she was able to get captured, they were talking about how she didn't have any rings on in her skin. And so for Maghra to present this ring
Yeah.
for him to bow down and know that she's a princess, it was like, okay,
Right.
I see what you're doing here.
I know. I mean, it was interesting to see because what happened after it is the scene where we go have kind of a flashback to the dad
Yes.
in bed, and we having like the queen, basically sitting right next to him.
Correct.
And she's kind of like very sad that because he's about to
He's
die,
dying.
I'm assuming, right? He's
Yeah,
dying.
yeah,
but
yeah.
I didn't see that was a very crazy moment to me because
Mm-hmm.
she is still sitting on the bed, and then little Maghra, like still a kid, comes
Correct.
across, sits on the bed as well. The dad comes up and whispers in her ear something like, "I think you will rule soon."
Right.
And the sister, like Queen today, is still
Correct.
sitting next to her, hearing it in a way a little bit. I was like, "Whoa!"
I mean, that was traumatizing.
That
I
was
feel
trauma.
like it's just a lot. So jumping right into episode 6. So we'll talk about Princess Maghra.
Yeah.
Because we did get to see that backstory. Then we'll talk about this undercover cave that we've got everybody else in. And then we'll close things out with the Queen
Yeah.
and Cora.
Got you.
Which I was very, very interested in the Queen. You've always liked the Queen from the beginning, but now I've like really, really loved like seeing her character.
Yeah.
But so for Princess Maghra, when at the end of episode 5, when we realized that there was this connection, I was trying to figure out, well, how is Maghra connected to the Queen? So it took me a second, and I got to see like, oh, okay, they're sisters.
Right.
You know,
Right.
fine. They have a dad, they're sisters, and then like this whole thing.
Yeah.
But so for you, by the time we get to see Maghra's backstory, and you guys in the chat can let us know as well, are you rooting for Maghra? Or are you rooting for Queen Kane? Like, should you feel bad? Should we feel bad for the Queen?
I mean, you know, the thing is, I feel like when I saw the scene for Queen Kane, I felt a little sad because I feel like she was trying to do it right. I think she was always trying to do it right. I think she was really trying to be a good daughter to her
Yes.
dad.
Yeah.
But I feel like the moment when she realized that the dad wanted to see her younger sister even before her. But you know how it is in these kind of like royal families, the oldest
Oh, for
always
sure.
has the first.
Naturally,
you
it's
know?
your birthright.
Of course. So I think that kind of hurt her like
Oh,
crazy. I
yeah.
think that's maybe also one of the reasons why she is mentally a little like, why did he say that to her?
Yeah.
Maybe her whole life she was dealing with that mind, with that thought.
True.
Why her and not me? Why did you say her?
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, and I think from that point of view, I understand a little bit maybe how she's feeling about the whole situation.
I mean, I think it was
know?
definitely necessary, and it was a great story for us as an
Yeah.
audience to get to see, because we need something to connect with the Queen.
Yeah.
And up until this point, I really didn't have anything. I know you were connected with like praying and going through all of that, like the Queen being able to.
I still liked her. I mean, I liked her like praying, you know. Anyway.
Right? But I think like this kind of gave her character some redemption. But it just shows like how communication just really like can completely derail a whole family,
Yeah.
because Maghra bases her decision not off of just that, oh, my father wants me to be queen and not her.
Yeah.
But why does he want her to be queen?
Yeah.
You know, it's because, like she said when she was talking about it, like emotionally, she's always played into them. Her emotions have always got a hold of her.
Right.
And I knew that this is what she would turn into.
Yeah.
And she tried to prevent that.
Yeah, I believe that was definitely very hard for her to hear it, but I still believe also that she was already kind of mentally handicapped a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She always had something.
Something
That was
about
probably
her.
the reason why the dad even told the younger sister, "Hey, you should rule soon," in a way, right? And not
Exactly.
her.
That's what
Because
I'm saying.
There was
Exactly.
always something, but I feel like I think she probably basically in the back of her mind, the queen knows that she is not completely
all
like
there.
healthy in a way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's still trying to make it right though, as the daughter of the
Yeah.
dad who was ruling for so long.
I think
you
that's
know,
the
like,
one
so-
thing she's just not willing to accept. I don't think
Yeah.
she would be able to hear them tell
Yeah.
her like, oh, you have this going on.
Yeah.
Just like she's never been able to hear
sure.
anybody of her
sure.
lieutenants or anyone up under her.
For sure.
All right, so we have this crazy mind explosion going on, and then at the same time, we're dealing with Boots, who betrays.
I mean, I was going crazy. I was like, what?
I'm like, oh my God.
I was
More
freaking
betrayal?
out. I
Like,
was freaking out.
is there anything, is anybody good?
I
Is
mean,
there
like-
anything left? And that's something else I
was-
didn't see him coming. I'm like, okay, well, he's down for the ride. This is great. They're going to have this tribe with Gerald Moreau's children.
Right.
And then he's like, nope, puts them in a cage
Right.
in this.
I mean, we already know that before, though. Do you remember that scene when they basically ask him, hey, where is she? Did you see Maghra? And he was
Oh,
already
yeah,
lying to them.
yes.
And then I was already asking myself, I was like, why is he lying to
Oh, my
them?
gosh.
So we didn't even know already at that point that he's going to go and do this kind of crazy
Facts.
stuff. But he's like, yeah, they killed her. They just killed her right in front of my eyes. So I saw her dying. I was like, wait a second.
I'm
I
so
saw
glad
her,
you said that.
I saw her just telling them that she's a princess. Excuse me?
I was thinking that too. I was like, is he lying? Like, is something going on in the story
Exactly.
where they're going to show us like what we saw was like a figment of
And
our
I'm already like,
imaginations? Or so that's true. So yeah, you're completely right. And then so he betrays them and they go into this underground peaceful place.
Yeah.
What do you think that place is?
It feels like an underground world in a
Yeah.
way. So people like who were basically like, I don't know.
I have
they
no...
capture probably like maybe the people who have the power on Earth capture these people underneath them or something like that and
Yeah.
don't let them go out or whatever.
I have no idea.
And I mean, honestly, overall about this storyline, this scene, I still don't really understand what this scene was good for. I mean, the only way that I understood it was because we meet Delia, who
Correct.
is the mom of Boots, right?
Yes.
Who's the other mom?
The
you know?
other mom.
the other mom.
Right,
There are a
the
lot of
other
moms.
mom. So she's the mom of Boots.
That's
And
right.
we need her because this gives us more story on Boots and how he's like a psycho.
That's exactly. And when she said, that was what I had to swallow when she said, I was like,
Yeah.
I want you to kill my son. I was like, what?
I'm like, oh God. Now y'all are just getting too
Like, yeah, you're getting
crazy.
too serious
Like
here, right?
everything is happening. My
It's like-
eyes are crossed.
Right.
Like what in the world? So you're right. We do get to meet her.
Yeah.
And she gets to propel the story forward in that way. And then we get more of more action with
That's
them just
right.
trying to get out, which is great to see.
Beautiful scene, by the way, I feel, when Baba Voss is trying to get out of the cave by
Come
himself.
on, and he has to
I
climb
was
the
like,
wall.
I was like, come on, man, you got this, you got this. I was like, really like, I was
Reach.
sitting at home, I was like, wow, and he
Right.
did it. It was a great scene, great moment.
You got to get up there. No, that was perfect. I was happy to see that. So we'll use Boots' relationship and the storytelling of him to take us back to the Queen,
Yeah.
and her friend Cora, and then we'll be able to jump into our special segment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll talk first, I guess, about before we go there. We'll talk about Maghra because we do need to make a note. So Boots
Yeah.
is left, and he's now trying to pledge his allegiance to her.
I mean,
As long as she's not mean to him. And I'm like, okay, he's crazy. This is a psychopath situation.
you know, the thing is, I'm not even, that's interesting that you say that. In a way, he is kind of a psycho, but I also believe he's kind of very smart in a way. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
At the very beginning, when I first met him, I was like, he seemed just like a warrior, just like a soldier guy. Like he just knows how to
Absolutely.
fight. He doesn't has a mind. He's not intelligent or whatever. He just knows how to kill people, and he does everything in his strength to do it. You know, to do
Right.
that. But now I'm just realizing he's playing people against themselves in a way.
Oh, for sure.
And he's really smart about it because he knows that he's the only one who can see in this camp of the witch finders right now.
Absolutely.
And he knows the situation about Maghra and the family. So he's just using that for himself as an advantage. I was like, wow, that's not really like a stupid idea right
no,
now.
I
you
think
know?
that he's very clever, and I think it does show, of course, with Drilla Moreau's children, just
Yeah.
how different each of them can be, but just those type of similarities.
Yeah.
Because even when we were introduced to him, it was in relation to Haniwa, and I think they were paired because they are more alike, just in terms of how they
Right.
act and the warrior thing. I
Right.
am taking a look at the chat. We've got Ivan hanging with us as always, so thanks for being here,
What's
Ivan.
up, Ivan? Hello.
And he's just talking about Boots just in terms of he had thought Boots maybe saw some dead person that was faked by Tamakti June. Like, in terms of him being a liar.
Oh. No, I'm pretty sure he was lying
right?
now.
He also said that Boots is a sociopath and that the show should be called Betrayal instead of C because of, like, all the betrayal.
I totally agree.
That we see week after week. But, yeah, I think that Boots is doing what he needs to survive. He does have a bit of baggage based on his life experiences. So, I mean, I get it. Everybody has to do something, and it only makes the story that much more interesting because now we know Haniwa has to kill him to honor her word, and Maghra has to have him be her like lieutenant to get out of these situations. So
I mean, and the ending was beautiful, by the way, because Maghra is just looking, the last second when they basically finished the whole episode, she's just looking down for a millisecond. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what is she doing now?
I think that she's thinking and taking things in, not to get into too many predictions, but we know that part of her skill set is just being able to know, like, if people are lying, this and that. So I think she's just weighing her options and trying to see, especially because we know that the queen is held in captive. She got beat up. I mean, she was. One thing about her,
I felt for her. I have to say. I mean, even if she did crazy stuff before and killed people herself, I felt for her.
Oh, I definitely felt for her. I appreciated knowing her story, and like I said, just being able to see that some of that grit and that bite that she has. She believes in what she says, and she's willing to die for it.
Yeah,
and that's always gonna be commendable.
Right. And they all have these kind of little things under their skin, right? So that's how you know back then if they were part of a royal family.
I love that. Again, another way of just showing history and still keeping the whole the story like alive and as organic as possible.
Right. No, that was beautiful because I was asking myself, how can this older guy of this like a camp of wimps, right?
Yeah.
How can he prove that he really has the queen?
And then this was another moment of betrayal, right? Because Cora, the girl who was kind of helping her out and befriending her, she's the one who went back and told him that she was the queen. So I was like, another betrayal? One episode, like, 2 betrayals?
That's like real life people like that.
Listen, by this point, I saw enough of who Queen Kane was to feel like, okay, she doesn't deserve this. She's going to help this old lady and they're going to get out of here and then we'll figure it all out.
Right.
In comes the betrayal. Cora didn't care nothing about her.
Because we really have to say that the queen never betrayed anyone by now.
Yeah.
Right? So think about that. She did maybe not the right thing every time, but she was always kind of open to everybody, right? And if she didn't like it, she obviously killed people, but she didn't really betray it on anyone.
She gave you a clean slate.
Yeah, exactly. She has a clean slate, for sure.
But I did think, like you said, we got to see a lot of really good work. I was like, okay, this is getting kind of dark when it was like she took the beatings and then she had to get on the table so they can cut the amulet out. And I was just like,
that was like,
oh my goodness.
It looked good,
What's going on? Oh no, it was great work.
Even also the blood, how the color of the blood was really good.
I'm really interested in seeing what's going to happen next week because at this point, I promise you, I did not see the story just taking all these little turns.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I had no clue.
No. The only thing, and we talked about that already last week, I feel like we had a feeling that Maghra is kind of, in a way, connected to Queen and this kind of thing with the, the royal kind of stuff. But Boots, completely unexpected.
Yeah.
Completely.
No way.
No way.
No way in the world.
And I feel like, and I still believe that he's not just there to just have this kind of conflict between Maghra and maybe even the whole family or whatever, but I feel like he's going to play a bigger part even.
I
feel like there's something coming up, Don't
completely agree.
Not about predictions yet, but
Yeah, I think that he will be here just because of not only the way that his story was introduced to his mother and the whole aspect of him just having all that revenge and killing people and just there's no way we would just be told that for it to just be something that's short-lived.
Right.
So I think that he now has like a big piece of the puzzle.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, for sure. Totally.
Yeah. But okay, so that caught us up with episodes 5 and 6. Let's go ahead and jump into our special segment.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Tell us about it. The biggest betrayals in history. Each week, Ben, you take a look at some of the betrayals
Guys.
that have happened in history.
And what can I say? I mean, look at this beautiful guy, first of all, right? I mean, look at this guy. You know, he's wearing a suit. He has like a red tie. He looks like very nice, right?
Yes.
It's our man, Robert Hanssen. But Robert is not really a nice guy because
What?
he did some crazy stuff, people. Let me tell you. So first of all, let's start from the very beginning. Robert, back in the day, it was around in the 70s, mid-70s, he joined the FBI. So he was accepted to the FBI, which is a big thing, right? That's not, as we know, it's not really easy to become part of the FBI.
Correct.
But he made it. He was working for the FBI for just 3 years. Just think about that. He's still kind of at the beginning of his career in the FBI. What does he do? He did that on purpose from the very beginning. He took all the information, even more what he could capture in 3 years. And he immediately started his own kind of little company of spies.
Oh, God.
And was basically getting in touch again with the Soviet Union, of course. Of course. I mean, who
It
else,
never
right?
fails.
And he had so many information that he was basically even working with another spy at the same time who was spying the CIA. And they were even partners. So that means
Wow.
he was working at the FBI, his partner was working at the CIA,
And they both-
captured all the information, and they have kind of like founded their own company of unknown agents. So no one even knew who they were. Even the
What?
Soviet Union never knew about their names or anything. And the FBI at some point thought they didn't even know. The crazy think about that for a second. The FBI even paid Robert Hanssen $7 million because they didn't know at that point that it was even Robert doing all that.
Oh, wow.
So Robert even like changed it a 180 and said, hey, you know what? I have even information of the Soviet Union that I can give you guys,
Oh, my
FBI.
goodness. So he's going to double cross.
He was kind of a double
Dibble
spy in a
and
way,
dabble.
you know?
Yes.
So they paid him even $7 million for it.
No way.
Long story short, in 2001, unfortunately, Robert, he got caught.
Finally.
Finally, he got caught. It was a long time. Think about that. From the 70s all the way up to
Exactly.
2001. So a little more than 20 years he was doing that.
Wow.
Earning good money, having a family, even you know how it is. You still have a normal
Exactly.
life.
Being a spy.
At the end of the day, long story short, he's still alive.
Okay.
He sits in prison in Florida right now. He received 15 life sentences. 15.
Oh.
So, I mean, unfortunately,
Finally,
obviously. I know.
somebody is really like held
Of course.
accountable.
It's just, for me, it's just what I've found very interesting about these cases. It's from the past, but just knowing that this person is still alive and is sitting in Florida right now while we are talking is kind
Yeah.
of mind-blowing to me, you know?
It's really crazy,
So-
and you really get to see just how connected we really are to the past. I mean,
Oh,
the
yeah.
past is not but so far away.
And you know, I don't want to make it longer as it should be, but I still wanted to say that I'm always trying to put myself into these people's shoes. And I was like, why in the world would you do that? I mean, of course, you have the money
Yeah.
thing and everything, but think about how dangerous it is working for the FBI. You know, we know the FBI in a way, not a lot of information, but we know what they are capable
Enough
of.
to know for sure.
Right? And why would you in the world do all that, take in information and basically send that over to the enemy?
Listen, there's no way it's worth it.
I know.
15 life sentences.
I mean, you must think like to yourself, I get caught at some point anyway, right? I mean, it's just a matter of time.
Whoa.
Coming back to Boots, my friend. I feel like it's just a matter of time, my
No,
friend.
that was a great. I mean,
You know?
that level of betrayal was definitely worthy enough to be mentioned today. I mean, we were covering 2 big episodes, and we had so much betrayal from Boots, from Cora with
Yeah.
the Queen. So I'm glad to know that on some level, justice was served.
I know, and that's what I'm always believing in. Coming back to our lives, I always
Yeah.
believe like if people do that kind of stuff, at some point, everyone gets
It's gotta
caught.
catch up
It's a
with you.
matter of time.
For sure. Well, like I said, we are finally all caught up on. See, we've been doubling up on episodes, but let's jump into
right.
news and gossip,
Sure.
and we can kind of clear up a few other things.
Oh.
So I took a look online. I know we all were just trying to figure out, okay, how's the rollout? How many episodes? So I saw Decider.com let us know that, so episode 7 is going to drop on Friday, November the 29th. So when we come back next Monday, we'll be covering 7 solely because we are caught up. This season 1 of C has a total of 8 episodes.
Interesting.
So we are almost there.
I expected a little more, to be honest. I'm a little bit surprised. I don't know
Yeah.
how you feel about that.
I was so on one hand I'm like, okay, 8 makes sense because we are getting these pretty much like an hour-long episodes.
Right.
But I don't know, with so much story going around, I just don't want the last 2 episodes to feel like oversaturated or like they did too much. You know,
Yeah.
that's always my fear there.
Because, yeah, exactly. Because what I'm just thinking right now, how can you end the first season by still just having 2 episodes left and we are like in the middle of these crazy conflicts? I'm just thinking like 2 episodes. Is that enough?
Is it
to
enough?
really tell the whole thing? You know what I
Listen,
mean?
it looks like it has to be. At this point, if nothing changes with Apple or the schedule, the season finale of C will air on Friday, December the 6th.
Wow.
And that'll be episode 8.
Interesting.
So,
All
yeah.
right. I can't wait.
You know, I'm excited about it.
Oh, yeah.
And at least now we know, you know, I like to be able to set myself up. So I'd rather know now
Right.
than it to be episode 8 and to see like, oh, this is the end of the road.
Yeah.
You know?
So you always like to be a little bit more having a plan or something.
Yeah, I like to be a few steps ahead. So I was happy to at least be able to confirm those things.
Right.
And then, like I said, you can always, if you don't, you should follow C on Twitter at C Official. They're just giving out those little tidbits just to put you more in the world of the
Right.
show. Especially now that things are like, guns are blazing so quickly, I don't want to miss anything.
Oh, yeah. And I still have to say, I always have to point that out, guys. If you like fight scenes in general, right, and you haven't watched C yet, check it out, really. Because you see fight scenes, I believe, you've never seen before.
Oh, no.
The way how they did it or how they do it on the show is just mind-blowing.
Everything looks great.
Because don't forget, they're all blind fighting, which
I
is
love it.
incredible.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV
It's hard.
predictions.
It's hard.
I mean, especially because we clearly now have a track record of being successful in the things that
Of
we
course we
predict. I
are.
mean, we did see a bit of this coming. You said yourself
Yeah.
that we were going to have this connection to the queen.
Yeah.
Last week I said that we would start to see her fall.
You said that,
You know,
right.
because we got to see them rise up. So that's why I was like, oh yeah, let me pat myself on the back.
Right.
So Ben, please tell me, what do you think we're going to see in episode 7?
Right. So I totally believe that. I say Maghra is saying yes to Boots. She wants him to be her eyes in a way, right? I definitely feel that she's going to say yes because think about it, from a storyline perspective, she has to say yes because
Oh,
it
yeah.
kind of creates even like a bigger conflict. Because I believe when she says yes, because I believe she's going to say yes, it definitely creates kind of a conflict between herself and the family.
Yes.
Who are still like they're still looking for her, right?
Correct.
But
They're
I think
not
like
reconnected yet.
I know, and I feel like Boots is really trying to just put himself into a position right now where he can pretty much manipulate everybody.
Yes.
Right? So I think she's
Okay.
always going back and forth. But I also believe that our Queen Kane, she's gonna be escaping. She's definitely gonna leave
Yes.
somehow. She's gonna make it work. I believe that because she's not gonna give up. And I believe the big showdown for me is like Maghra and Queen Kane. Boom.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready for that reunion. So I'll piggyback. I
Cool.
do agree that it is a bit more about Boots and just playing this fence
Yeah.
to cause the rift. She has to escape somehow. They have to get her back. It'll be interesting to see what they use because now you have Maghra kind of on the same side as the Queen's army because she is trying to take back
True.
her rightful place. So it'll see how that plans out. But I want to see them reunite. I don't necessarily need to see them fight, but
Yeah.
I'm ready for all the dialogue. I'm ready to catch up to speed and to see who actually is going to end up queen. One of them, no, they both can't live.
I know. Because, I mean, what we still don't know is what is really their relationship. I mean, do they hate
And
each other?
how-
Do they still
yeah.
kind of love each other? Well, what is
I mean,
it really?
well, we
you
know in some ways they are going to hate each other because Drilla Morel, just like Boots, is a split between them. Drilla Morel decided to be a fugitive with Maghra as opposed to just getting power and sticking with Queen Kane.
But does Queen Kane know that Jermorella went with Maghra?
Well,
does she even know about that?
No,
I'm not sure.
no clue.
Just tell us, people, what you think. I'm not sure about that, seriously.
Yeah, please let us know your predictions. We really would like to know. We've got a week before episode 7, so I can't wait to hear all about it. We could go on and on with these predictions because they just keep coming.
They keep coming right now.
They keep coming, but until next week, you can always keep the conversation going. My name is Keith Andre, and you can follow me all over social media at Keith_Andre.
Awesome. Yeah, and you can also find me on social media at Benjamin Schnau, Facebook and Instagram. And I'm also going to do the show The World According to Jeff Goldblum tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. And I also do We Are the Wave, a Netflix show in German and English for you guys.
Awesome sauce. All right, check you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.